What I've learned in the last 5 or 7 years, I can sit here for half an hour and give you every detail. Every single person in this room, since you're here, there's no doubt in my mind that you are going to kill it. And that's what I want to talk about today, PP. I really want to talk about this. Patience and passion. Let's start with passion. There is way too many people in this room right now that are doing stuff they hate. Please stop doing that. There is no reason in 2008, none. Promise me you won't, because you can lose just as much money being happy as hell. Clap that up, because it's real. You know, I took over my family business. It was doing a couple $1 million a year, and over a 7-year period, I built it up to a $50 million company, turned 30, freaked out, and decided I wanted to do something else. And so I saw, Zay Frank and Amanda Khan at Rocket Boom doing all that stuff. I'm like, I can do that. And so that's what I decided I want to do. I became 1% not happy selling wine. One. And that's when I changed my life. I started Wine Library TV in February. I had to do the holiday thing and all that, but and that's where this all started. And by the way, talking about patience.
Having discipline in your life starts with 2 simple words: patience and passion. If you are one of the many people who is doing something that they hate, stop doing it. Find something that you are passionate about and work at it until you can make it your living. You can lose just as much money being miserable, so take a chance on happiness. Have the patience to see it through and don't settle for anything less than being completely satisfied with your life. We live in a time full of opportunities, so change your perspective and don't complain about things that don't even matter. Because we do have access to so many opportunities today, lose your pessimistic outlook on the world and put yourself in a more positive headspace. Learn to recognize what feels right to you and move on from there. If what feels right is skating by working a 9-to-5 job, then that's great, and you may have already made it. But if that isn't what brings you joy, then you have to get to work and discover what it is going to take to make yourself happy. Chasing happiness is different for everybody. If you are starting out on square one, then you may just have an advantage over others born into privilege. When you build yourself from the ground up, you get to take credit for every single thing that you have accomplished along the way. Money can't buy happiness, so don't envy anyone else who didn't need to work to get to where they are now. Do that work each and every day and discipline yourself to keep doing it until you find yourself exactly where you want to be.
And when I watch what people complain about, it breaks my heart because they completely lack perspective. And I genuinely believe my happiness and optimism comes from my perspective. Even in political unrest times like right now, a lot of people are very bent out of shape, but the reality is that it's just never been better to be a human being. That's just the truth. That's just data. That's reality. Yeah, I mean, it's just a very fun time to be alive. So much going on. I mean, like, it's just an incredible time. And I think the way people look at the world right now, because it's such an incredible time, is actually the quickest tell to who they are. If you think it sucks or it's bad, you have losing, pessimistic DNA. And if you think it's awesome and phenomenal, you have optimistic, winning DNA. And I believe that to be true. And so that's where we're at. I actually get goosebumps, like real heavy goosebumps when I hear something that I know feels right. What's the advice there? Hey, Johnny, start getting goosebumps. Like, there's certain things that I can't talk about because I know they're not practical. They're intuitive to me. I was 38 years old and it didn't come natural to me. Like, it didn't come natural to me at all. I hate the gym. I hate it now. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. But I knew it was important. And somewhere around midway through being 38 years old, I got serious. I figured out my system. I made the financial commitment and I've won, right? And I'll never lose again because the system was I needed to be accountable to another human being. So it was about Mike and now Jordan and whoever else is my trainer. I'm doing it almost weirdly more to not let them down than to, and so that was this shift. And so I feel like there's a shift that can make people work harder. The big one that I push is you're gonna die. Like, if you're like, to me, life is broken down into complaining and not. So if you're not complaining, well, then I have no advice for you. I'm pumped. Like, you did it. Like, I have friends who make $42,000 a year, work 9 to 4, kind of, with an hour and a half lunch and 45 minutes of YouTube and an hour of complete wasted time in a meeting. So they're kind of working like 6. You know what I think is a better advantage than being born into something? Being born into nothing. I'm on the record. Remember I said it. Can't wait to watch it in 20 years. The internet the way it is today, I'd rather have 0 than 100 million. People that have 0 are like, this guy's an idiot. That's because you don't talk to trust fund babies. I do. I talk to trust fund babies. They DM me. I meet them in real life because of my business career. And sad. Do you know what it's like to talk to a human being that looks at you at 22 years old and says, no matter what I do for the next 80 years, it will never be my own accomplishment. Everybody will always say I was handed it, and I'm done. Do you know what kind of level of depression, cocaine, and partying until you die that leads to? A lot. Nor do I expect anybody that grew up the way I did in a studio apartment in Queens to have sadness for Richard Thompson III. They will say what I always hear, which is, cool, I'll cry in my Ferrari. That's because you don't know what crying is. Because smiling in your Toyota is way better than crying in your Ferrari. But you can stay confused. And when you get there, why don't you call good old Gary and tell me how it actually feels.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content.